Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City of Parkland. Well, I have to say this started, I'm from Boston, so I'm gonna say Parkland a lot, maybe. So that's the accent in case you're curious. So when I was asked to speak here, it was an honor and a privilege, of course. And I was asked to submit a speech. It's right here. But I'm not really a speech guy. I should have told Adele that to begin with, and she's freaking out a little bit right now, but I wanted this to be more than a speech. So I did some soul searching about my relationship with Memorial Day. I was born in 1963, the tail end of the baby boomer generation, right into the Vietnam War. And I grew up hearing it on the news, seeing it on the news. And at the same time, Hollywood was in full swing. War movies. Every great star had a war movie. And TV shows like Rat Patrol and Combat. And I watched these shows, I watched these movies with my brothers and my friends, and they were great. And it was guaranteed that in every episode or in every movie, a soldier was gonna get killed. So you grow up, and that's what you know. You don't think much of it. It's something you saw like I said, every movie. 1971 comes along, I'm 8 years old, Memorial Day is established. Doesn't mean anything to me. I was 8. But fast forward to becoming a young teen. Now the Vietnam movies are coming out. Soldiers are getting killed. So I knew what POW meant, I knew what MIA meant, and I knew what KIA meant. Again, didn't mean anything to me. And this is sad to say, but it's the truth. And today, right here, I give you my word, this is the first time that I've really told this story, because this event made me really think about my relationship. And I didn't have one with Memorial Day. Memorial Day was what we all thought, it's the beginning of the summer, it's the picnics, it's the cookouts. So then I go in the Air Force, 10 years, 10 Memorial Days, 10, I understood it, I knew what it was, but I was lacking something. I had lacked it. I had become desensitized to soldiers dying. It's really what it was. It didn't affect me. Even seeing it on the news, I was desensitized, and because of that, I lacked empathy. I lacked empathy and it's not really, I'm not saying it wasn't my fault, but I was a product of my environment growing up, and that's what it was. So fast forward 10 years, 10 Memorial Days, I get out of the military, I go into US Customs, Border Protection, 22 years there, 22 Memorial Days, 22 days with a lack of empathy. At a certain point, I went to the VA, I got diagnosed with PTSD, first responder PTSD, not combat PTSD. PTSD is PTSD. I go to the VA, I see the psychologist, they recommend equine therapy. I worked with dogs for 32 years, what do I know about horses? But I said, great, I'll do anything. I go to an amazing foundation over in Delray called the Herd Foundation. They work with veterans through equine therapy. And it changed my life. Honestly, it changed my life. See, I was a veteran, but it was just something that I did. I always carried it like that. I never used it as a badge. I never used it as an excuse. I never used it as anything. It was something that I did. I did it really good, and I just move on. That's just the way I do things. This brought me back into the veteran space. In working with this nonprofit, I started doing outreach for them. And I go into a room like this one day, and there's 60 nonprofits that work with veterans. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I start getting into the veteran space, and I start the Vets Connection podcast, where I interviewed, and I still do, nonprofits that work with veterans, because for 20 years I floated out in that ether and had no idea these things existed. Maybe that could have changed me earlier, but everything happens in life for a reason. I firmly believe that. So I started interviewing veterans and nonprofits that work with veterans, and I start connecting with these veterans, and these veterans are Afghanistan, Iraq veterans. They're combat veterans. And the more I talk to them, the more I started realizing something, that it's real. It's real. These guys and these women, they were part of what I used to see in the movies. They were part of the thing that I lacked empathy for. They had friends, brothers, sisters that got killed in action. And I start feeling it. I start feeling their pain, because I have to sit across from them with the microphone and interview them. And I watch some of them break down. I said, well, I have to do more. So I started the One Man, One Mic Foundation. And I teach these veterans how to podcast. These veterans that have PTSD and traumatic brain injury. And I always say, at no point in the history of this country has a veteran had more opportunity to be heard and have a voice than now, today, this moment. It's not just TikTok and Instagram, it's podcasting. And I start getting a big response from veterans from all over the country. They want to learn the podcast because they have something to say. And so, in teaching these veterans and hearing their stories and interacting with them on a constant basis, I live by this. Out of everything bad comes something good. My lack of empathy was bad. Meeting these veterans was good. And working with these veterans is amazing. And through all that, I kid you not, I found my empathy. And it's real. And it feels good to cry sometime. And I'm man enough to do that. I'm trying not to right now. I'm trying to keep it together. So because of this journey and because of this event, it forced me to look into something that I never looked at before. And I want to thank the city of Parkland for helping me with this. Because it's a weight lifted from me. And again, it feels good. So that's my story. That's my relationship with Memorial Day. And I guess like the Grinch who stole Christmas, he found his heart, right? And everything was great after that. And I don't really know how to end this, so I'm just gonna say thank you. Thank you to the city of Parkland.